Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. I'm going to start it off in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And we are quickly coming into the times of Jacob's trouble, a time, as it says, where none is like it, where any horrific event you can think of in human history won't even hold a candle to the times of Jacob's trouble, when Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is about to bring great judgment upon the planet Earth for the wickedness these people have been walking in. As it says in 2 Esdras 8, verse 50 in the Apocrypha, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter times have walked in great pride. And this is a very prideful world we live in, especially in the so-called Western world. And, America is the cherry on top of all this pride and wickedness out here. Hence why it's going to get the worst judgment. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And this verse just shows, further shows how bad Jacob's trouble is going to be. The archangel Michael is going to have to stand up in defense for, the elect of the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as, the Israelite foreigners who through the scattering and the generations have come to look like these heathen nations. And at that time, they shall be delivered. Speaking of the elect, everyone that shall be found written in the book, which further backs up what it said at the end of Jeremiah 30, verse 7. But he shall be saved out of it. The elect right now are doing whatever they can to stay in the good graces of their power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, so that they can be written in the book of life and have that protective hedge of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai and the archangel Michael over them for when Jacob's trouble fully pops off. But I opened up the video with these verses to preface a little bit of this video from Hawks Podcasts / MDG 650 Hawks YouTube channel titled The Insatiable Violence of Humans. And, Hawk is going to be going into, some of the current events that have been taking place recently of violence taking place, different parts across the planet. And, he speculates that, 2026, I believe, is going to be an even worse year than this was. And best believe it will be, because things are only going to continue to get worse as we get closer to Jacob's trouble fully popping off. And, he's, speculating on things, but the scriptures have the answers for everything. This is a cold time we're living in these last days where great violence will abound. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Happy Monday morning. It's about 9:15. My body actually let me sleep in this morning, for which I'm incredibly grateful. But last night before I went to bed, I was just like thinking about all of the violence of this weekend. The shooting at Brown University, the detaining of a person of interest whose name and image were plastered all over the place. Then the Daily Mail found some guy in Wisconsin who was close in age, had the same name, and they identified that guy, and that guy wasn't even the person of interest. So those two guys are having a bad day today. The shooting, the anti-Semitic terrorist attack in Bondi Beach, the heroic civilian who disarmed one of the gunmen, thank God.
Hey, I'm Brad Eggenberg. I was going to sponsor the college bowl game down the street, but that just wasn't in the budget. But it was in the budget.
And then the news about Rob Reiner and his wife last night, murdered by their son. Just, it was weighing on me a lot last night, just the violence of this past weekend. And that's not to mention, you know, the things that have been going on forever in Sudan and Congo and Gaza, and the violence that we've seen on our own streets in this country every single day with ICE officers and Customs and Border Patrol officers absolutely brutalizing immigrant communities. And it just goes on and on. And there just seems to be almost like a tidal wave of just violence and inhumanity right now. I don't know if it's worse than normal or if we're just seeing more of it.
Hey, it is worse than normal because we're living in the last days, you know, really the last seconds of the last days, careening towards Jacob's trouble, which, as we read in Jeremiah 30, verse 7, and Daniel 12, verse 1, it will be a time like no other. But in the build up to it, you know, these people are just going to get in a colder, more hateful, violent spirit. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. And, you know, if we go to, actually, let's go there first. I think it's 2 Timothy 3. 2 Timothy 3, verse 1. And the header reads, difficult times will come. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. What did Hawk say? I don't know if people are more violent now or we just have more access to it through the internet. People are much more violent now. Matthew 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that word iniquity in the Strong's is G458 anomia, which in the outline of biblical usage says the condition of without law, because ignorant of it, because of violating it, contempt in violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. And this is ultimately talking about this planet being without the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures being enforced, which is the only right way to govern anything. With that being the case, you've got these people going off their base instincts and feelings and false ideologies out here, leading to all the madness. And then, you know, as the economic and moral situation deteriorates out here, you've got people not giving a damn about the laws of their own government. But now I'm going to go to where it said cold, which is G5594, Suko. What does that look like? Psycho. Metaphor of waning love. Again, and because iniquity, lawlessness shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Psychopathic. Everybody out here for themselves and their own, you know, twisted desires.
Because of these devices that we carry around with us all the time now. And fortunately, I was able to sleep for several hours. And that helped quite a bit. And plus, you know, it's like now I get to start most of my mornings sitting out on my deck watching the sun come up over the mountains, listening to the birds chirp, and watching all the different breeds of squirrels and chipmunks run up and down the trees and get in fights and throw nuts at each other. Oh man, I think the next year in this country, on this planet, are going to be worse than the last year. In terms of all kinds of things, but I think specifically in terms of violence. People committing violence against other people. And I just spent a lot of time this weekend thinking about mental health and thinking about my mental health. Being incredibly grateful that I'm up here in the mountains.
5 years ago, we were forced underground.
What's our contingency plan?
They say the crater is humanity's last chance.
That's on time.
You know, and then I woke up this morning and saw some headlines. Well, first, Jesus Christ. I woke up this morning and I saw Donald Trump's Truth Social post about the murders of...
And we'll end it on that point. But, hey, Hawk made a prophetic statement. I believe that, 2026 is going to be worse than this year with violence. Hey, it's only going to get exponentially worse going forward to where we're fully in that time like no other. And I'll give it to, Hawk. He's in the right spirit, because for a lot of you Americans out here, you still want to keep your head in the sand like the ostrich, thinking things are going to get better. Well, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 1. To everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And when we're in the time of America being plucked up by the roots and thrown into the fire, a time to kill and a time to heal. What was the title of that video? Humans' Insatiable Need for Violence. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. And all you got to do is go to TikTok or any other social media platform and see that there's a lot more weeping and mourning than laughing and dancing. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to keep and a time to lose. A time to keep, a time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time of love and a time of war. No, Slakia. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. And, if you're being honest with yourself, with the talks of World War III, theist attacks, economic decline, civil unrest, racial unrest, are we in a time of love and peace or a time of hate and war? But that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere, Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time.